You probably know someone like this. No matter what happens, a long delay, a rude comment, a bad situation, they just move on. No complaints, no drama. You might even admire them. But psychology says there's a lot more going on beneath that silence than you might think. Welcome back. Today we're diving into one of the most misunderstood personality traits in modern psychology: the habit of never complaining. It sounds like a virtue, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's a warning sign. Let's break down exactly what science says about people who never, ever complain. The first thing psychology tells us is that people who don't complain often have a very high threshold for discomfort. Research in emotional regulation shows that some individuals are simply wired or trained to tolerate frustration without vocalizing it. This isn't denial. It's a genuine ability to sit with discomfort and not feel the need to broadcast it. Psychologists call this high distress tolerance, and it's often linked to resilience. These people don't complain because, honestly, many things don't bother them the way they would bother others. But here's the catch: this tolerance has a limit, and when it breaks, it often breaks hard. This next one is deeper. According to attachment theory and childhood development research, many people who never complain grew up in environments where expressing needs was met with dismissal, criticism, or punishment. If you cried and were told to stop being dramatic, if you complained and were ignored, if you expressed discomfort and were made to feel like a burden, your brain learned a very specific lesson: silence is safer. These individuals didn't choose not to complain. They were conditioned not to, and as adults, that pattern stays. They suppress frustration not because they don't feel it, but because some part of them still believes no one will care, or worse, that speaking up will make things worse. Psychology also consistently links non-complaining behavior to people-pleasing tendencies. These are individuals who prioritize the comfort of others over their own needs. They don't want to seem difficult. They don't want to create tension. So they swallow their frustration and smile. On the surface, this looks like patience or maturity. But internally, it can lead to resentment buildup. Psychologists call this passive accumulation, where unexpressed grievances quietly pile up until they eventually explode, or worse, silently destroy relationships. People who never complain also tend to believe deeply in handling things themselves. They don't ask for help. They don't lean on others. Complaining to them feels like weakness, and they've decided they don't do weakness. Psychologists call this hyperindependence, and while it can drive incredible achievement, it also isolates people. It prevents genuine connection. Because vulnerability, even the small kind, like saying, "This situation is frustrating me," is what builds intimacy. When you never complain, you never let people in. Now, to be fair, not every non-complainer is suppressing or avoiding. Some people have genuinely developed what psychologists call radical acceptance. They understand what's within their control and what isn't, and they've made peace with that. This is the gold standard. It's not that they don't feel frustration. It's that they process it quickly, internally, and redirect their energy toward solutions instead of venting. These individuals don't complain because they've found something more useful to do with that energy. So what's the truth about someone who never complains? Psychology says it depends. They might be resilient. They might be conditioned to be silent. They might be avoiding conflict. Or they might have genuinely found peace. The key question isn't do they complain, it's why don't they? And if that someone is you, it might be worth asking yourself, am I at peace? Or am I just practiced at pretending I am? Think about it. And if this hit close to home, Share it with someone who needs to hear it.